What is up? Episode 4 of Commercial Breakdown. We thought we would pay a little homage to winter and holiday themed commercials and bringing back a classic from the 90s. And this one will warm your heart, I'm sure, and stir up all the nostalgic feels. Campbell's Chicken Noodle Soup, the Snowman commercial from the early 90s.
As long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Nothing melts away the cold like a delicious hot bowl of Campbell's soup.
Let it snow, let it snow.
Where does this rank for you, looking back at like classic holiday themed commercials? Where does this rank in your memory bank as like all-time classics?
I feel like it has to be top 3. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't remember a Christmas that this wasn't on.
I would say like, there's like the Hershey Kisses, the bells. And I'm sure there's one or two other ones, but this is definitely up there. And I think what makes it so like special is because like, it's like the Cadbury Easter bunny commercials. Like it gets constantly updated and, put into HD and whatever it is, but it still retains its relevancy all these years later. I think that's the special part about something that's etched in our minds is that we have this nostalgic feel for it, but yet we pretty much see it every year. So it's one of those weird commercials that is a part of our history and yet still a part of our present and probably a part of our future too.
Seems like they were created and then they're like, no, we're just going to keep reusing this, but like kind of making like slight updates to it. But this one, for some reason, because it didn't run all year, it seemed like it only ran in the winter months, you almost like you couldn't hate it because it was like, oh, I remember this, like it's this time of year again. And now I'm gonna feel cozy and it's gonna be Christmassy. So it's kind of funny how it can trigger that.
Totally. I think that's the feeling that kind of comes from this commercial is cozy. That's the right word for it. It just gives off this very comfortable, relaxed, insulated feeling, almost secure, which is for soup. Like that's pretty good. That's really good.
So this iconic commercial opens with one of the most iconic Christmas songs, Let It Snow. Off the bat, we get this like really heartwarming feeling. But then for me, it like took a sharp turn because the first image we see is this snowman out in the snow and he looks like a creep. And like, obviously it's kind of like a weird juxtaposition because you've got this really like heartwarming music, but then if you laid a different track over that, like this could be the Abominable Snowman for sure. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen. It could very quickly become a horror movie.
Yeah, could have gone really dark.
Yes. And even the expression on the snowman, he goes from like, he starts off angry and then he switches to sad. And then this is the point where I like start to feel bad about everything that I was just thinking about him.
Because he's freezing.
Yeah.
I just found it strange that we're showing a snowman in the elements where snowmen, thrive. And it just seems like snowmen shouldn't be getting cold. I mean, I understand that, as the commercial unwinds, we find out that it's not, really a snowman, but, seems kind of a stretch.
You're totally right. Something is definitely off. Snowmen should never be cold.
Do you think they could have told this commercial with the little boy outside playing as himself, freezing cold, coming inside and having a bowl of soup and warming up and had the same effect?
Yes, I do. I don't know that I like the snowman concept. You're pretty far into this commercial before they actually present what the product is. And then we finally get this shot of this bowl of soup. And Steve, I got to tell you, when I was watching this, I was like making a grocery list so that I can go make some chicken soup because it looks so good. All I needed to do was like show me this picture of the soup and like I was sold. I didn't need the snowman. I didn't need the kid to show me the soup.
I would say the creepiest part of the commercial to me is as the snowman is melting into the boy, snowman's got twigs, for arms, and then all of a sudden like the arms just kind of appear, like they kind of overlooked the whole like, well, we can't melt twigs, so like let's just stick the real arms on the side of the kid.
Yeah, a twiggy hand picking up a spoon and eating soup. Again, like this could very easily be a horror movie. One of the other things that made me laugh is that at the point like where he's fully just a kid, they kind of show like a few different stages of the snow melting, and one of them is like he ends up with this like snowman helmet. And I'm always interested in the production of these things. I was thinking like someone got the order like, okay, we need to construct this like snowy dome to go on the kid's head, and I'm just curious what it was made out of.
Yeah, it's definitely like peanut packings or something like that, right? I mean, it's
perfect. That's definitely
I'm just
not
watching it back right now.
That's definitely not how snow would melt in this just like perfectly round
perfectly.
dome.
Yeah. Like a young George Washington or
Yes.
Mozart with that old like white powdery wigs that they used to wear.
Exactly.
Yeah. I like the kid's face after he has the soup and all the snow melts off of him and he's just like thrilled and happy and he finally gets what he wants. But then like they zoom in on the kid, completely dry. Like no water dripping off of him. Like this is some soup.
So I know how much you love this commercial. You know I love it too. But my question to you is, in all your years of watching this, have you actually ever purchased a can of Campbell's soup?
I'm not a chicken noodle soup can person. I'll make that homemade. I'll buy like tomato soup. I'll buy Campbell's tomato soup. For a commercial to have such an effect on you for a product that you don't buy, right? What does that say more about? Is it more about just like the feelings that you get around the holidays and winter and and those types of things? Because I feel like I identify this commercial more with those feelings of like snow and winter and cold and coming in out of the cold than I actually do about like eating soup.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely more about the feeling than like wanting their product. I think it's more about wanting that experience. Like after watching this now as an adult, I did want soup, but I wanted to make it. So they weren't really selling me on their product, but they did do a really good job of selling this feeling.
I feel like if I were in this commercial, like if I were a part of it, like I'd be just like the one, like as he's starting to like melt onto the floor, I'd just be able to just come over with the mop and just be like, you mind picking up your feet, kid? I can't have that. Even the noise of the snow hitting the ground, it's like this like plop sound, like like you know what that sounds like. Everybody who lives in the Northeast or has snow knows what that melting snow sounds like. But it's just the most obnoxious, like nauseating sound, because like there's other things that it definitely sounds like that you don't want to imagine in your head.
Don't want that anywhere near the soup.
But they put it in as an audible drop, like an audible sound drop in the middle of this like feel good moment where he's like getting warm and he's having his soup, and all of a sudden it's like like it just hits the ground and you're like, oh, this is not what I want to associate this with.